The Bloody Podcassacre with Zac Walters and Kennedy Catherine.
We're running, we're live, and now Charlie is running as well.
If you're running,
I'm running. He's a great podcast mascot. Wow, his tail is I had never noticed it.
what do you like? What about it?
The three
that
rings.
He has one? Oh.
Wow, Charlie, the cat has a tail? No, the three rings. He has like a raccoon tail.
Maybe he's part raccoon.
And my roommate calls me a human raccoon. Charlie and I do feel like
Also,
one
you
and the
say
same.
like...
Raccoon rather than raccoon.
Yeah. I keep wanting to say raccoon now, but it's raccoon.
It's much more... I know it's raccoon. Raccoon for me is funner. More fun. Welcome to the Bloody Podcassacre. I'm Kennedy Catherine.
I'm Zachary Walters. See, I hate this.
That's Zachary Walters.
And that's Kennedy Catherine.
Thank you.
Wow. Well, what threw me was I said Zachary. The whole shebang.
The whole kit and caboodle.
Don't know what that...
I don't know why I insist on speaking like a 52-year-old Midwestern mom.
You are. The thing is like in Canada, we're like Midwest.
Oh, I know we are.
That's a check.
That is a check. I'm not a mother.
Yet.
I'm not 52. Yet.
Thank God.
Once again.
Because you're like, yeah, I'm 60. And I'd be like, you know what really checks out?
One of my favorite experiences with listening to podcasts is that, say you just stumble upon one day and you start listening. I have to take my earrings out because I can hear them and I think everyone else can. But you'll be listening and you have just a full vision of people and what they look like. And then you finally look them up and it's never what you think it's going to be. And I really hope that someone has had that experience with us.
I am just now running through scenarios in my mind of like...
What do people think we look like?
Hopefully hot.
Hopefully hot. I'm sort of hoping they don't think I'm hot. So that there's no huge disappointment.
Keep the bar low.
Very low. And then you'll be pleasantly surprised if you have no expectations.
We have some tattoos.
We do. Between the two of us, God, how many do you think we have?
19.
Look at that math.
We need to get to a good 20. I want 3 more.
Do you want to get matching Podcassacre tattoos?
Actually, yes.
I would do it. Because even if this whole thing ended in flames, still a moment of time in our lives.
Yeah.
What would we get, though?
I don't know. I was just thinking, will we just get Podcassacre? Should I get @Podcassacre?
No! Oh my God, no. I would never get a microphone just because I was in radio and so many people got mic tattoos.
Fair.
And I think it's so silly. But I would want to get something horror related.
I mean, I still do want a Danny
Midsummer.
tattoo.
Yeah.
I don't know. Now I'd have to think about it.
Okay. Well, let's think on it. Sleep on it.
I don't know if you've seen, I had this conversation with you and I don't think you did, but there's that app going around that's big on TikTok called GhostTube.
No, I watched the videos you sent me.
Okay, yeah, but I don't know if you've seen any other ones on TikTok.
Oh, no, I haven't.
So anyways, it's supposed to be like...
Yours was so funny.
It really caught me off guard because nothing was happening. And then I lost my mind for like 20 minutes after. So anyways, it's this app that you're supposed to be able to talk to ghosts through. What are the normal ones called?
EVPs?
Yes, I was going to say
An EKG.
Yes. It's supposed to be an EVP, and it uses the magnet in your phone because there's a magnet in your phone that helps you with a compass in the Compass app, which I just thought it was using cell towers. But if you don't have cell towers, it'll still tell you.
Interesting.
So the more you know.
Personally, I've never used the Compass app because I don't know how compasses work.
I have gone to the Compass app, but then I think if you swipe, you get a level. No, that's now in the Measure app. It used to be in the Compass app.
You are blowing my mind with information right now. My telephone personally makes phone calls and text messages, and that is it.
Oh, yeah. I use my phone as a level all the time whenever I do stuff.
I have too, but I had to download an app. It's on your phone?
Yeah, it's called Measure.
Shit.
Anyways, GhostTube. I was like, I have to grab like a magnet and test it out. So I like did that and it goes over. I'm going to play that sound.
Okay.
Hello, is there anybody there?
So this is one where I was just testing out the microphone to make sure it's working. Okay, and then this is the magnet. So it kind of gives you a notification when like a strong magnetic force is close to your phone. So then I'm sitting in my bed. I'm trying to think around here like what is close to me that, you know.
Might put off a magnetic field.
Yeah, or is haunted, maybe. The park that's close by, I was like, but that's still pretty far.
You're close-ish to a notoriously haunted building.
Yes, and then I thought about that. And then I was like, okay, this is the video that I caught. My facial expressions also make it funny.
It's the best video I've ever seen.
We will post it on Instagram story and on Twitter. But I will play it for you now.
Hello, little ghosty. I'm waiting for you. It seems like there's no one over here, is there? Annoying.
Straight up, just was like, annoying.
Annoying. That's the word that came back. Annoying.
I'm going to play that part one more time. It's...
Because you didn't give me... I just want to paint a picture for myself. Zach didn't give me any context for what I was about to receive. He told me that it was his app. He told me he'd been taking a video. And, like, we'd both been having some spooky things happen recently.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of freaked out. And I'm watching it fully waiting for some shit to happen. And then it said, annoying. And I damn near threw my phone. It was so funny.
I'll start from the beginning.
Okay.
Hello, little ghosty. I'm waiting for you. It seems like there's no one over here, is there? Annoying.
And then... I like literally was shocked. My eyes are wide as hell in the video because I was like, 1, this bitch just called me annoying.
Yes, she did.
2, there's a ghost here.
And it thinks I'm annoying.
It thinks I'm being annoying. So I was just like, thank you for your service.
Thank you so much for choosing me in my home specifically. I'm so sorry to have annoyed you.
Yes, and I will take it down a notch.
Do you think that any of those things are legit at
No,
all?
and I'm like, but, so my one friend who was like, oh my gosh, I've been trying this app in my home, who I was telling you, her mom was the one who didn't take the shot. So she was doing it in her home, and she kept on just getting like one words. It was never phrases. And so the first word she got was Thomas in her house. And then like 10 minutes later, she got it was Thomas and then closer. And then it was 2.
No.
And then she never did it again. I was like, it's probably Thomas closer to you.
No.
And I was just like, no thanks.
Something about a name feels so sinister.
Now I know who it is.
It's Thomas. I don't think
someone,
those things
but
are
it's
true.
or it's posing as someone who is pretending to be a Thomas.
We know this from The Conjuring.
We know this from every single horror movie we've ever reviewed.
It's a fair point. Besides
only 20.
Besides the one we're doing today, honestly.
Have we done any like creature features? I don't think so.
No, we have not. No, but
I'm trying to even just think about
it.
like a creature feature horror that like is that I like off the top of my mind. Cloverfield.
I'm not big into like monsters.
Yeah, neither
Is
am I.
Sinister? Well, no, that's a demon.
See, that's like where I'm trying to be like, okay, something that's not paranormal and that's actually like some sort of like monster attacking people and it's based around horror. The first thing that came to mind was the fucking Meg.
Megalodon.
Yes. Jaws. But like, I don't consider Jaws horror to me.
Yeah, no, me neither. And also when I think creature, I'm thinking like creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, like
not
something
really
that's
thinking
also
a
like not real, you
right.
know?
Yeah, a mythical.
The Mist.
Never seen it, but I've heard very good things.
That was Stephen King, the novel.
Right, I didn't know this.
Yeah, I can't even think of off the top of my head. People are probably like, Zac and Kennedy, you were missing the most essential one, which is...
I have never claimed to be an
Would you-
Disclaimer for Podcassacre, I've never claimed to be an expert about anything. I've never said I'm going to get all details right.
And that's
so
that.
if you got a problem with that, take
Hit
it
us up.
Take it up with higher management. There isn't anyone. So send a letter and I'll
Write
burn
an
it.
email in.
We did get a great email, by the way.
Yeah, we did.
A recommendation for a movie called Joyride, which is on Netflix. So I'm excited to check it out.
I didn't look around.
But it was so funny. It was such a well-worded, hilarious email. So thank you so much to Alyssa. We really appreciate it. And we'll be checking that out.
Yes, maybe we'll do a full episode on it. She essentially was like,
This is terrible.
and you guys are going to hate this, and I want you to rip it to shreds. We were like,
You know
done.
what? If you have any other movies that you're like, hey, I hated this, and you guys will hate it, send it in, and then maybe we can do 2 or 3 in an episode. It is hard to base full episodes on stuff that we're not excited about. We really learned that lesson with Green Inferno. I mean, we went off about Green Inferno, which was nice, but it's kind of a nightmare.
Yeah, well, because we like to, have some sort of like
Substance and
Yeah, and,
emotional
like,
connection.
and also finding foundations about the movie and like, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was even hard with short films too, where we were like, they were fun.
There's not a ton of substance.
No. I don't know if you remember, but when we were in the very first few meetings of us having conversations about like what we were going to do for the podcast, and then we found out we were like, okay, horror movies, we came up with a name. We found one and it was, I feel like I have it saved somewhere.
It was a movie?
Yes, and it was like My Football Slumber Party 3, something like that. Do you remember that?
I do, and we watched the trailer for it, and we said, this is something we have to watch, and we wanted to make like a 15-minute video.
Yeah.
And cut together the highlights of us watching it. What was that?
I wonder if I have it saved. It was such a stupid title, and it was Dude
Bro Party
Massacre 3.
Yes.
We did it.
Wait,
Wow.
what is it actually, though?
I think...
Something stupid.
Yeah, Dude Bro Party Massacre 3.
Yes.
And the tagline is, don't let a bro see it alone.
And I will not let you see it alone, bro.
Thank you. The serial killer is known as Motherface.
Motherface?
Yes.
I love this.
Oh, it is in my watch list.
It actually looks hysterical.
The trailer was just...
A genius nightmare.
Someone's review is Bros, Beers, Blood, and Bunnies. It's a slasher mockery that's destined for cult classic status.
I'm excited.
Came out in 2015, so it's
been a minute.
But I don't know if there's more than one, or if the third one is just the one that's...
the third installment, but it's the first and only.
Quickly, lastly, to touch on the creature feature thing, because I thought about it. Would you consider Aliens part of that genre? Aliens is a thing by itself.
Well, I mean, if we start discounting aliens from creature features, then I don't really know that we have that many. True. And also, like, aliens conceptually are not something we have legitimate proof of. So whatever we create as our theoretical aliens is technically a fake creature.
Did you see those photos of dried stingrays?
No.
Holy God.
Does it look like mermaids?
No, it looks like people.
What?
I saw it on TikTok, and it literally scared the living daylights out of me because I was like, what is this?
Show me. I'm very excited. I love this guy. Oh, no. Oh, no. I need to see that again.
They look like aliens.
They kind of look like, have you seen Mermaids: A Body Found? It was like this fake mockumentary that went around years ago that I fully thought was real the first time I saw it.
You know what?
Never said I was smart, and I would never say that about myself. Kind of looks like those.
Yeah, I don't...
You don't like it?
No, it was a lot.
Do you think mermaids could be real? It is the one thing that, though...
100%.
Right? I try to be logical and tell myself no, but it is the one sort of weird fantasy thing that I will 100% allow myself to believe.
It's because the ocean...
We don't know 99% of it.
I know, and so you're telling me that those things live there?
And a fucking lady with some bazongas and a tail can't?
Yeah. So... Just quickly want to throw off some creature features that are popular in the past couple of years where I'll be like, I was so stupid.
Oh, I can't.
The Babadook.
Oh, I loved the Babadook too. It's the Babadook.
Bird Box.
Bird Box? What was the... Oh my god, right.
Yeah. The Quiet Place.
I was just going to say
Quiet Place. The Ritual. Did you ever watch that movie?
I don't think so.
Underwater with Kristen Stewart.
Yep.
Did like that movie. They put it in here because I guess
it's technically a creature,
but it's also an alien,
but it's also a ghost because he was a human.
I don't know.
His backstory was that he's a clown.
You're right. The Thing, and then The Cabin in the Woods, which is every creature.
True.
So anyways, those are some just off the top of this list.
Amazing.
Signs. That's aliens.
But I thought we weren't discounting aliens.
I know. You're right.
Signs is a great movie. We've talked about this before.
Yes, and I just watched it last year.
Okay.
For the first time.
Oh, really?
You were like, I'm writing that comment off. Why did you tell me that you watched it last year? No, for the first time. And that scene where the alien's walking across, terrifying.
So funny, though.
But it's like, he's like, ooh.
I think if aliens came down to Earth, I would just be like, fuck it. I don't think I'd care. I'd care as like a concept. I'd care as like, wow, that's the coolest thing that'll happen in my lifetime. But I think it would be kind of like a pandemic. I think I'd quietly accept it after a time.
Well, it depends what they're doing. Are they here to help us?
Are they here to be nefarious little motherfuckers?
Are they here to give us new vegetables? You know what I would love? For them to give us a new color.
They probably could.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
You know what I would like? For them to come down, wipe out the government, and rebuild society.
Just take us.
Just take me.
But don't hurt us. No, like I want
And let me bring, like, a handful of women to hang out with.
But you don't know what they look like.
Aliens?
Yeah.
Are you saying I might want to be with an alien?
Yeah. What if it's the most majestic, beautiful thing you've ever seen in your life?
I don't think I would be attracted to something that didn't look human.
What if they looked human?
Then that's fine.
Okay.
Problem solved.
Great.
We're going to Mars. Should we talk about the synopsis here? I'd like to work through the synopsis before we get into our feelings.
Yes, but we are going to be talking about...
Oh. Creep and Creep 2.
Yes. Just to let you know, if you didn't realize by the title, that is what we were talking about. But one thing I want to say before we get into the synopsis is that this is going to be one of those movies, well, both of them, where if you're a listener of the podcast and you haven't seen the movie, or you like are still like nervous about watching scary movies and you like to listen to the synopsis, just go watch these films first.
Yes, I back this up. And Creep, the first one, I find is a lot less visually upsetting than Creep 2. And Creep 2 is still not super visually upsetting by any means. So if you are interested, I would say this is a great starter film because it's not outright horrific. They're just kind of anxiety inducing. Not even that. They're like...
No, there's a couple of jump scares. It's the same pretty much jump scare throughout the whole 2 films.
Yeah. But you will want the mystery element of what's happening in order to like fully enjoy these movies. Well, obviously, we're always spoiling everything. This is something that specifically I would say go watch first.
Just because I remember watching the first one and being like, wow. Like, there were so many actual good twists. I can make a TikTok about this.
Please do.
Maybe we should.
We should.
These are those, like, scary movies where it's, like, it actually, like, it did have some very good twists. The acting is so good. The storyline isn't a lot. It's very, like, kind of, it's not one note, I would say, but it's very, like, normal in a sense. But it's just so well done. So like, well done. Both of them. And I kind of like the second more than the first, which is shocking.
Let's get into it.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you the synopsis of both right now.
Okay.
It's very condensed. So we'll start with Creep, which came out in 2014. It starts with Aaron, a videographer, and he takes a job at a remote cabin where he's going to meet Joseph. Joseph is a terminally ill man who's expected to die before his pregnant wife can give birth. He wants Aaron to record a video diary for his unborn child. Throughout the day, Joseph behaves oddly, asking Aaron to film him in the bath, a tubby time, to show his child, and he becomes increasingly attached to Aaron. Aaron discovers a wolf mask in the house, and Joseph tells him that his father used it to pretend to be a friendly wolf named Peachfuzz. But later he confesses that he actually used the mask to rape his wife. Aaron becomes increasingly disturbed, but finds himself unable to leave, because his car keys are missing. After the 2 drink whiskey and Joseph passes out, Aaron intercepts a phone call from Joseph's wife, a woman who reveals that she is not his wife, but his sister, and tells Aaron that he needs to leave. Joseph tries to stop Aaron from leaving, but eventually he gets away. Back at home, Aaron starts receiving weird mail, like a recording of Joseph digging a grave. A final DVD is sent where Joseph offers to meet him in a public park to make amends. Aaron goes, placing a camera on himself first. As he waits on a bench, Joseph approaches from behind, puts the wolf mask on, and kills him with an axe. Reviewing the footage later, Joseph questions why Aaron never turned around. He concludes that despite everything, Aaron trusted he wouldn't hurt him, and for that reason, he's his favorite victim. Then he places a DVD of Aaron's footage alongside many, labeled with other names. Then we cut to Creep 2. Nearly 4 years later, Joseph has become dissatisfied with killing after turning 40. When his latest ad to be documented lures videographer Sarah to his home, Aaron takes a different approach by admitting to her that he's a serial killer. He promises he'll let Sarah live if she records a documentary on his life. Sarah, who produces a struggling web series where she meets people through Craigslist ads, accepts, doubting he's telling the truth and seeing this as an opportunity for interesting content. Over the course of the day, Aaron struggles to intimidate her. He informs her that he thinks the finale should be her killing him. Interspersed through the afternoon are Aaron's intimate and apparently honest accounts of himself, like his first homicide at the age of 15, and the fact that he's still a virgin. Sarah kisses Aaron, apparently his first kiss. Late into the night, he brings Sarah outside for the finale, where he shows her an open grave. He claims that he dug it before her arrival, but hadn't known what he wanted to do with it. Now, he's decided. Using a knife he stole from Sarah, he stabs himself in the stomach and then tells her that they're going to die together, like Romeo and Juliet. She attempts to escape, but Aaron chases her, stabs her, and drags her into the grave. As he gives a closing monologue to the camera, Sarah crawls her way from the grave and strikes Aaron over the head with a shovel. Sometime later, Sarah is recorded in the streets of New York by an unidentified person. The stalker follows her to the subway and gradually gets her attention by whistling Aaron's favorite tune with the camera focused on her face. Sarah seems to draw a faint, distracted smile when she hears it, but finally she looks directly at the source and the camera abruptly cuts away. And that is the end.
One thing to quickly note, in the first movie, it's Aaron and Joseph. And then in the second movie, Joseph takes Aaron's name. So it does seem confusing.
Oh, sorry. I should have clarified that. Yes.
No, yeah, just so that you're not confused, like, what? I thought you said Aaron died from an axe.
Yes. Yeah, so he assumes the identity of his victims sometimes, like as he lures in other people. And the way that he's luring people in isn't always the same. So the ad in the first one, he brings Aaron in and doesn't explicitly state in the ad what he wants. He just needs a videographer. And then when Aaron gets there, he tells him, yeah, I'm terminally ill. What he's doing other times, we don't really know. Yeah.
Realistically, in the way that this movie works, Sarah would technically be the 40th person because he says he's killed 39 other people. But that's not to say that Aaron in the first one was the 38th.
So he takes some time between his killings. He's not doing it rapid fire.
Well, also, he's turning 40, and if that's hypothetically the 40th kill would be Sarah, that's almost like one a year.
Well, post the age of 15. So it's more like 2, 1.5.
The one thing... So these movies are styled as found footage movies because it does rely on someone being a videographer. Also, do you know what's so strange is the way that they said documentary in the movie. They say documentary, and I was just like, is that an American thing?
Probably.
But these movies really, they kind of do a good story of mental health, but not in a good way.
Yeah. So, okay, there's a lot happening here. But well, first of all, I have a question.
Yes.
So in the first movie, Joseph, the killer, talks a lot about his wife, obviously. His wife is pregnant. That's the whole thing. And then the name that pops up in the phone is the name of his supposed wife. And then when when Aaron answers, this woman says, oh, I'm his sister. And basically, we're led to believe that he's unwell. In the second movie, he talks about being a sociopath. And does he say that he's psychotic and he has like maybe antisocial something?
Yeah, because he does talk about when they're playing Two Truths, One Lie, that he kind of grew up with a lot of older people, so he missed his childhood and kind of growing into that. And like he was talking about when he had never been kissed, that he missed all of his teen years and the romance, and so he just grew up in an elder home. He worked somewhere because he was running away, and then that man beat him up.
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially he
was conditioned in some way to be. He was not totally normal.
Yeah.
But do you think that he actually has a sister that Aaron intercepted a phone call from?
I think so.
Because a part of me thinks he doesn't. A part of me thinks that's an orchestrated piece of it. It seems weird to me that phone call would have been so well timed to sort of ping him to freak out, because all of a sudden there's a person on the phone being like, you need to get out of the house. He's ostensibly been, quote unquote, passed out from the whiskey this whole time. And then all of a sudden he's like up and being aggressive, and he meets him at the door in the mask and stuff.
Absolutely hated that part the first time I watched it.
Terrifying.
When he meets him, we're going all over the place with this movie. But when he is standing at that door blocking Aaron from getting out.
Yeah.
So he's wearing this wolf mask, but it's like kind of Party City mask.
But it's like a full head rubber mask. Like it's large.
Yes, and it's like has like a large protruding snout with like yellow and red teeth. It looks childish, but it's also terrifying because it has this gray fur all the way around the face. But anyways, he's named it Peachfuzz, which Lord knows why. And he's standing at the door, but he's like lowly growling. But he's also moving his hips back and forth.
Yes.
And I'm just like, why are you doing this?
Mark Duplass's performance as him is so fucking good.
Like,
he's not trying to be scary.
No.
He is just, his natural movements are so weird. God, I loved it.
The one thing that I like about these movies is that it's original, is what it is. It's not a sequel. It's not some reboot. I would say they're kind of like a B-grade movie. Like, they're not top-notch production over the top. But it's just like all the subtleties are so good in it.
So good.
And like there's no music.
There's really no like large production quality to it at all.
I do want to know how they did some of like the killing scenes. Those were pretty good. Especially like the axe.
In the first one?
Yes.
Yes.
Because it's like you're watching, it's so weird because you're watching it happen. I've never been like in scary movies watching them run away, blah, blah, blah. But you're like, why aren't you doing anything?
So when I say that Aaron, the cameraman, had put a camera on himself, I mean, he put a camera on the dashboard of his car. So we're like a field away from him when we see his death. And we are seeing Joseph creep into frame and then axe him over the head. And he's sitting on this bench just looking forward. And it is maddening that he never turns around. And I kept thinking about it. And I was so glad that in the next scene, when Joseph is going through the tape, he turns to the camera and he's like, Aaron, why didn't you turn around?
Right?
I was like, thank you for saying exactly what the audience is thinking, because it seems ridiculous.
It's like, he's so self-aware. And it's just so like, I don't know. I don't want to say it's refreshing.
It is, though.
But
I find him super likable.
that's the weird part, right?
Yes.
He seems like just like a normal guy, but also is a murderer.
So can I tell you a little bit about the conception of this film? Because I think it's interesting.
Yeah, I would like to know, because I don't know anything.
So the Duplass brothers make a ton of films, and they make movies that I love. So there's a movie called Safety Not Guaranteed I really like. I've told you a million times to watch Blue Jay, which I think is like one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen. None of them are horror movies. Also, there's one called Your Sister's Sister, which is really good, and it's on Amazon Prime and stuff. It's not the Duplass brothers, but Mark is in it, and it was directed by Lynn Shelton, who was a wonderful female director who tragically died in 2020 of, I think she maybe had like a brain aneurysm. She was really young. She was the partner to Mark Maron, the comedian. And anyways, totally recommend checking out her movies because they're very good. They're all tonally really similar. And it's like all of these movies take place over a super short amount of time in just one sort of instance. And I really like that because instead of playing catch up on these people's lives, you get to just have this snapshot and you get to live in this moment with them. And they're really quiet and really subdued and really real. Like the dialogue, it's just really long conversations and like moments in days that you would actually live. There's something about them, even Creep is really calming in a lot of ways. And I really love the feel of them. So check out all the Duplass brothers films. But Mark, who's in it and directed it, he has a thing for making movies with first-time film directors. And so that is what his name was Patrick Bryce was the writer, the other writer and the director. And he was also Aaron, the cameraman. So those two people who star in it wrote this and made it together. And Patrick was just some guy that wanted to be a filmmaker that Mark knew and was like, okay, let's do it. So the original idea for the film was that it was going to be a dark comedy. And it was going to be like these two guys who were sort of like falling for each other in like a platonic sense. And the original working title was Peachfuzz. And it was going to have the element of the wolf mask, but it was never supposed to be, it was supposed to be dark, but it wasn't supposed to be scary. And so they filmed something. And when they started showing people a rough cut of the film, most people were having a reaction to this anxiety-inducing part rather than the comedy. And so he compared it to his daughter, which I thought was interesting, by saying that when he found out he was having a girl, that he really wanted her to be a tomboy. Immediately, she was the type of kid who just wanted to put on dresses and play with dolls. And he said, once you let something be what it wants to be, that's the only time that everyone will fully enjoy themselves. He said that's what they ended up doing with Creep, is that they were like, we just had to let it be what it was supposed to be. And it was this thing. And that's when he brought it to Jason Blum. So the first Creep is a Blumhouse Films picture, but I don't think the second one is.
The second one was.
It was? Okay.
Because I didn't remember the first one being one, but then I remember when I watched the second one yesterday, that it had Jason Blum and like the Blumhouse logo and their whole video montage. So I was like, oh, cool.
So the start of it was this idea of Joseph's character. Mark has said of that, we were interested in the psychological profile of this very, very strange person. We were very interested in how you meet people and you don't quite understand what's up, but you just start to get these signs. For us, it's this idea of intense eye contact, lack of personal space, oversharing, maybe a little bit too much love here and there. But for me, there's something wrong with both of the guys in this movie deeply. This concept of who really is the creep in this scenario. So they built the movie on a 25-ish page outline of scenes and plot direction, and then they just shot it. And as a result, there's like multiple alternate end scenarios and about 10 to 12 variations of every scene.
I would love to see all of that.
Right?
You know, hearing that, it would be such a good like choose your own adventure movie.
Mm-hmm, it would be.
Mark, if you ever by chance listen to this.
I'm in love with you, please.
1, let us hop on for Creep 3. 2, let's work on making Creep a choose your own adventure style like Bandersnatch. Mm-hmm. That's all I have to say. Also, never stop making these movies.
I really like the way he makes movies. I'm
going to have to really dive deep into his other stuff.
You should.
Because the only other knowledge I have of him was when him and his brother were in the Mindy Project.
My mom was... Oh, fuck. I was watching Creep 2 yesterday. My mom was like, have you ever watched Mindy? I was like, this is not about that right now.
But yeah, they're the naturopath doctors
right.
that, or what are they? The midwives that work on a different floor of the hospital. Mm-hmm. And so that was my first introduction to both of them.
They are so talented. And
it's so funny also.
I do recognize that their style just very much speaks to me though on an artistic level. I just love the stuff that they make. And I know that sort of quiet, nothing's really happening thing doesn't work for a lot of people.
That's fair.
And I think that's why most of his movies are more indie stuff.
Through like looking around, a lot of people are saying to go watch Baghead. Have you heard of that one?
No.
Apparently it's very similar, like horror tone style. I think they did it, or he did it, one of them. Oh yeah, the Duplass brothers. But it says 4 actors, quote unquote actors, go to a cabin in the woods for the weekend to write a movie script. They talk about a relationship movie or a paper bag over the head movie. It starts with an anonymous baghead and slowly escalates.
Ooh, that sounds good.
It looks like Jay and Mark wrote and directed it, but what's her name is in it? Greta Gerwig.
Oh, yeah. This movie, a lot of their other movies feel kind of like Black Bear to me.
I still haven't yet to see it.
Oh my God, Zach, please,
know,
you need to watch it. It's so fucking good.
I'll watch it tonight.
It's so good. I would love to do a podcast about it. I don't know that it 100% fits the horror genre, but if you guys haven't seen it, it is the exact mindfuck I was looking for.
Okay, good. The second movie, Sarah.
I loved her.
She was so good.
So good.
I remember seeing like a preview for this movie a couple years ago, but I never watched it until now for some reason. I think I had the expectation that of course it's a sequel, it's not going to be good. She was like above and beyond. And I think that's why I like the second one more, because her storyline was it felt like it had more substance. Mm-hmm. But there's one line in the beginning. So Sarah is a filmmaker and she's trying to make a web series called Encounters, which I would watch.
I would too.
That seems so interesting.
I agree.
And she was brave just to like go by herself. Mm-hmm. God, like good for her. And she's like 2 views. I was like, well, feel that. But she said a line and she was like talking about how she had 2 views on her videos. And then she was like, I think I might be deeply untalented. And I was like, I feel that. Am I, Sarah?
Zach, I literally screen recorded that and I almost tweeted it and TikToked it because that is truly my biggest fear and also my greatest belief of myself in life is that I am deeply untalented.
It was like, and it's the first like, what?
10 minutes?
Yeah. And I was just like, this character is me.
Yes.
I feel this.
I also think...
And then she woke up the next morning and she's like, just kidding.
Sorry, everybody. I was having a moment.
And I was like, I feel this on so many levels.
Me at 11 p.m. and then me having my iced coffee at 9 a.m.
Yes.
I think that her character was the only person that they could have realistically put in that scenario, first of all. Mm-hmm. I think that actress is maybe one of the only people I would have believed in that scenario. First of all, I couldn't really figure out her motivation for a while. So I wasn't clear if she did or did not believe that he was a serial killer.
I know. And I was like, I thought she didn't for the longest time. But then it switched because when she put the knife in her boot, I was like, okay, she does believe it.
I was kind of under the impression that she didn't think he was, but that she was still just trying to be safe. So there's a couple times where she either turns the camera on herself or he is handling the camera. Mm-hmm. I think that almost anyone else, because I think if her expressions were changed by, like a millimeter, it would have been unbelievable. But she somehow has this exact level of ego and fear at the same time that was so believable.
This storyline is the only thing now that I see for a sequel that could ever be done. And I know that we talked about this briefly over text. They are thinking about making a third one.
They're apparently, like, I think they have. I think they've made a version of it that they weren't happy with.
They made 2 scripts, I know.
Okay.
They wrote 2 versions, like similar to, I guess, how the first one was kind of conceptualized. But they're like, we don't know if we need to make it. I think I like the idea of her just looking on the train after, or the subway or wherever they were, and like it just leaving that series as like this 2-film masterpiece. I don't know.
They were masterpieces. I really liked them.
And I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, this isn't really scary. And I'm like, sure. Literally, the only word to describe these movies is creepy. You're literally like on the edge of your seat because you're like, you have no concept of what's going to happen. Mm-mm. You don't know what the ending is going to be, which was so nice. Like this movie, I remember both of them. I couldn't guess the ending.
Me neither.
Which was, I love that because I usually am like, okay, this is probably what's going to happen by the end of this film. 2/3 of the way in, you're like, the trajectory of where this is going, I can see it.
Right.
These movies end and then come back like 3 times.
The first one, I did kind of anticipate the ending, but the film that Joseph makes, or I guess the little video that Joseph makes and then mails to Aaron, or actually leaves on his windowsill, he's basically saying, hey, there's something wrong with me, and I know that, and I realize that I've made a mistake, and I've gone like 3 steps too far here. I really just want to be able to have the opportunity to explain myself and to apologize. Some part of me did think that was true because his character, even though he's never outright asking for sympathy and we never get a backstory that's believable, he gives us a backstory in the second one that for all intents and purposes could be true, but he's also a pathological liar, so it might not be fucking true at all.
But also it's because like the one thing that was interesting, in the second one he's talking about he's never been kissed, never been with a girl, and then in the first one he said that he had a wife. Of course he's making up these stories, but it's like maybe he did have a wife.
He could have.
Or maybe he has never been kissed.
Yeah,
it's
it could be anything.
Also, the number of people he killed could be... Although I feel like that he is proud of, and he knows that number. You know?
Oh, for sure. I really don't think, like, in the second one when he says to her, I told you I wouldn't kill you, and I don't lie about things like that, I do think that he lives by his own sort of moral code, where he is telling the truth about that.
Well, I think that's... I actually have no concept or knowledge of this, but I feel like a lot of serial killers have that, or at least in films I've seen. Because like even watching The House That Jack Built, he has some sort of like moral that he has to follow in order to fulfill his needs. Because if they don't, then I don't think that they have a purpose. There's no motivation or motive behind it.
Very good point. But yeah, what I was going to say, can't remember. Is I wasn't 100% certain where that ending was going to go for Creep.
The first one.
Yeah, and I wasn't entirely surprised, but I was still, like...
that sums it up.
Supportive beep. But I was still delighted by the ending. Mm-hmm. Creep 2, I really want to talk to you about the ending and how you feel about it.
I was expecting to be let down by it. Mm-hmm. In the second one, he talks a little bit more. I don't remember if he does in the first one about digging a grave for the person and then getting in it with them. Does he talk about it in the first one?
No, but just for further clarity. Okay, first of all, there's this moment where he is clearly always renting places. So this is like a rented cabin that he's
Although I thought it was
to.
The same one at first because of the fireplace.
I did too. It's definitely not though. He has a moment where he just kind of has a breakdown because the day is not going as he planned. And he does have a bit of an ego about him. And he wants this documentary about his life to be good. And it's not going well. And he has a bit of a temper tantrum. And then he goes in this hot tub in the basement and he wants to be alone and he's listening to music. And Sarah...
The same song on repeat.
Yes. And Sarah finally goes down and turns the music off. And this part to me was so fucking hysterical. He's like, turn it back on. And she's like, why? And he's like, because it's my favorite song ever and I want to listen to it. And she's like, well, why is it your favorite song? And he goes, oh, I don't know. Maybe because in like 3 lines they accomplish more than any poet ever could. And he's so dead serious. But he's so endearing.
What was the song called again? Sarah something in...
Sarah Loves...
Tutti Frutti?
Something like that. Either way, in this scene, they start talking about, you know, how he's killed. And he says that he likes to get fully naked with his victims and lie next to them in their graves and sort of absorb them.
Which... Okay.
So basically he's saying that he has certain tics and certain personality traits that he's acquired from his victims through the absorption of like their energy. And so the grave digging, we've at the very end, there's a grave. Go ahead.
So the end of this movie, it kind of comes out of the blue. They're walking in the forest. One, where are they? I mean, they said they're 3 hours north of, or not north, but outside of New York is what I'm assuming. And so anyways, they're going from this cabin in the woods. And as Kennedy said, he stabs himself a bunch of times because he's expecting to die and then also Sarah to stab herself.
He thinks that they've formed some sort of bond or connection because she's sort of manipulating him in a way by just being really calm all day and not having a reaction to anything and sort of just like giving him this space to be who he is and facilitating it for good content for herself. So he's under the impression that he's sort of found someone. So he thinks they're going to Romeo and Juliet this bitch and that she is going to just go along with it.
Yeah. Well, it's also like she's been playing his game right back at him.
She has been.
Once again, great character. I don't think that they were... Someone online I saw said that they were... that this was more of like a love story. And I was like, definitely not. It's one-sided for sure.
No, I would not say that. I think that's a really deranged way of saying it.
Because neither character really gave love in any capacity.
I don't think he has the ability to love, and she certainly was not in a position to offer him that.
No, but I think she loves the idea of helping somebody to get content for her show because she has feelings of giving somebody like an experience.
Yeah.
And like helping them with what they need. And like that's her way of showing affection, I think. But also she wants to make content.
Yeah, it's motivated. It's self-motivated.
Yeah. Back to the thing. So they're going to Romeo and Juliet this bitch. And I'm like... he stabs himself like 4 or 5 times. Do you think he really stabbed himself?
I was wondering about this, and I don't know. I'm thinking maybe not.
Because then another thing, we are, once again...
Tangents.
Yes. When he hangs himself from the ceiling...
Okay, well, I didn't touch on that. I kind of cut that from the plot. So he has this whole idea that he's going to have Sarah kill him.
Also,
and
we'll get to the ending.
she kind of like objects at some point and is like, I can't do it.
Also, I really wanted her just to slice his head off.
Fuck, same. So he kind of like sets up for her to kill him, gives her the axe and everything, and she doesn't do it. So then we cut to him trying to figure out how he's going to commit suicide with her there to film that. And he hangs himself off the banister in the house. So go ahead, whatever you're going to say about that.
As viewers, you think that he's hanging and that the rope just snaps because he does not die from it. He does choke momentarily. And Sarah tries to lift him up. But then after, he's like, no, I had a harness holding me up with the wire.
Yeah, because she gets upset and she's putting her shoes on because she's going to leave because she's like, how dare you put me in that position? And then he pulls out a harness and is like, no, I was never going to die.
So that's why part of me is like,
he
didn't really stab himself.
Exactly. That motherfucker's way too self-centered.
One, if he stabbed himself a bunch of times, he probably would have died in the woods. He stabs himself close on his like abdomen under his ribs. So like I'm assuming he'd puncture something important, but then he's also on the train after. So I'm like, maybe he didn't. Because how do you go to a hospital?
I mean, we don't explicitly know that it is him at the end.
True.
I went through a big thought process with that because, I mean, you assume that's what you think. But then I had this whole theory in my head that we don't know what happened to the footage that was shot on that day. We don't even know what the time frame is that this video that we're watching of her on the subway later is. So I started to think, okay, maybe this footage was released somewhere. Maybe he is dead, and now maybe people taunt her in this way. Also,
maybe it's like a copycat killer kind of thing.
Yeah.
And also, what if somebody was wearing the Peachfuzz mask and that's what she notices?
No, it's the song.
But she also looks up after.
Right.
And then she like shits her pants. But we don't know who's behind the camera. So the person whistling, it could be anybody whistling. Because he could be dead, but it could be somebody else wearing the mask. That's my thought.
I don't think someone was wearing a wolf mask on the subway. But I do like where your head's at.
You never know.
So back to the grave.
Anyways, stabbed himself a bunch of times. Sarah's like, nope, I'm going to get out of here now. Now I'm going to leave because one, he's weak. Why not? So she starts booking it out of that forest. She just said, I'm going to go
track
to where?
Star.
Olympic sport athlete who? Sarah can do it all.
She really can.
So she's running. Eventually, I really liked the shot. So he Aaron Joseph, what is his name in this movie? Aaron, aka Joseph, aka Mark Duplass.
The killer.
Yes. Has the camera now at this point because he's using it kind of as a flashlight more than filming her. Mm-hmm. And so she's running through the woods and he loses track of her. But then he's panning with the camera and you see her like slip behind the trees, but he doesn't notice it.
Yes.
Because he's using it as a flashlight instead of the camera. And I really liked that part. Eventually, I don't remember what she uses, just a stick?
Yeah, she like rushes him with something,
Yeah.
but you don't really see it.
Yeah, it's very quick. The camera tumbles.
Yeah.
And they're kind of wrestling on the ground. But then she gets and starts running again. And this time he is also booking it after her because...
Suddenly he can.
Yeah, he, one, doesn't have 500 stab wounds in his chest. Then chases her, and what I'm assuming is that he stands on her head. From what I saw, I thought he was jumping on her. Because he tackles her to the ground.
No, he's stabbing her.
Oh, see, I thought he was standing on her and jumping on her head.
No.
At first.
He's straddling like her lower body and
See,
is
I
stabbing
couldn't really
her.
see.
Yeah.
I thought he was standing behind the tree and like...
No.
Drags her back to the grave, throws her in, and he's saying like a soliloquy. I didn't want it to end this way. Just you. Adios, girl. Thanks so much for being number 40.
R.I.P.
Yes.
It's been
Sarah,
real shoddy.
He's like chucking up peace signs. He's not doing any of that. Just to clarify.
To be clear, no.
And Sarah crawls
It's so good.
so quietly
She is a mouse.
and like pulls the same thing
That he
he
did.
did to Aaron, original Aaron, to him, and takes the shovel and full on like clocks him in the back of the head.
And it's so good.
It's so satisfying.
That spray of blood. Oh.
And he just like collapses to the ground because he's kind of kneeling just to get in frame of the camera, which makes me also think, were they running around with it with a tripod on?
I know. I'm also very confused.
Because all of a sudden it's just like, I'm like,
setup.
do you just have stumps everywhere of trees that you can just place the camera? Because you know what? Maybe.
Could have been. He did set it up in advance.
That's true. She, I think, just runs away.
Yeah, she just runs out. She just runs out of frame. We don't really know what happens after that.
And then it cuts to black and goes to her in New York, however many days, weeks, months, years, decades later.
We have no idea.
No. But yeah, that ending blew my mind.
I felt that it dragged a little bit.
Really?
Yeah. So I think it's because there is such a consistent feel to the first one. It's very sort of methodical. Like, they are in the house and then they go outside for a bit and then they come back for the evening, and it all just kind of makes sense and ties together. Creep 2 feels like a sort of eternal day. It feels like they never stop. Like, there doesn't seem to be like a cohesive time frame to anything. What hour of the day are they even at that point? Who's to say? Like, they are in the house, but then they go by the creek. But then they're back at the house, but then they're in the woods. And then they're here, and then they're there. And I was just kind of getting to the point of like, okay, this has got to wrap up in some way. And in what way is it going to wrap up? And I think him deciding, okay, you're going to kill me. Fine. She can't. Okay, then I'm going to commit suicide. Okay, that also doesn't work. Okay, now we're in the forest, and we're going to do this thing.
We're going to play this game.
But then this game also lasts quite a while. And I was just getting to the point of like, okay, I just need you to figure out what it is that you want to do and wrap it up. I was in some ways expecting him to want to have a moment with her in this death. I knew he was not going to outright kill her. I was like, it's going to be something because I can see that he's feeling an attachment for her. Mm-hmm. I don't know why he thought that this woman would think it would be worth it for her to
also
Romeo
leave
and
the
Juliet
world.
herself. But yeah, it did take me on a couple of turns where I was just a little bit like, yeah, I'm ready for this to be done now.
You're like, I am also ready to now go into the grave. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm
That's
ready for
fair.
a nap.
So my two questions that I wrote down earlier while you were talking about who knows what at this point. Other than his name, what do you think that he took from Aaron? Also, remember when
maybe not.
Remember when he made the J+A locket, and then he was like, "I have a gift for you. It has me and another man in it."
There you go.
There you go.
He felt very sexually ambiguous to me.
Was also very shocked with the nudity in this movie.
Yeah, I found this interesting. I wonder what the choice was. So he has this moment when he's talking with Sarah about how, like, they're going to get vulnerable today. Let's get vulnerable. Let's get physical. And so
Olivia Newton-John once said.
She did. Shining star Olivia Newton-John. So he comes out and he just full dick out, fully naked, because he's basically saying two people of the opposite sex cannot be in a room together and not be thinking about what the other one looks like naked. So let's just get that out of the fucking way. Here I am.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, now it's my turn. And he is clearly not expecting that she was going to extend herself in that way.
It's because he's trying to irk her in all these ways to, like, I think have a reason to be like, you're worthy of dying.
I think he's also just trying to get a reaction out of her because he's so used to it. And she's a challenge. And so she's like, okay, fine. So then she gets naked. But why is it? So she records him taking all his clothes off. He's standing there fully naked. He takes the camera from her.
He's also, like, posing, like, with his knees
I
awkwardly.
know.
And I was like,
oh! And he does, like, a weird, like, toe tap at one point. I love it. Choices were made. So then he takes the camera from her and she undresses and he zooms in on her face so we don't see her.
You, like, barely catch a glimpse of her breasts.
Yeah.
And that's it. But I was reading in an article that he likes to be naked and feels comfortable being naked in movies and wants there to be more male nudity because it's not fair that men don't have to be nude in movies.
So maybe that was his choice.
It was like another Jack Rayner Midsummer.
Like if they're going to be, I'm going to put myself out there and she doesn't necessarily have to. Got it.
So, but yeah, I read an article that he doesn't mind being naked in movies and will do it whenever.
Yeah, well, because someone had asked Jason Blum in an interview if Mark was wearing a prosthetic, and he kind of laughed it off. And then Mark later was like, I don't know why he laughed that off. I wasn't wearing a prosthetic. I do everything fully. Like, I don't care at all.
Good for him.
Good for him.
But did we find out what he took from Aaron? His name?
Yeah, his name. Yeah, I don't think we did. I mean, maybe his cell phone or something, because like what else would he have taken? He was in his house, he could have taken anything, but the only thing that would have been left if he didn't go back to the house after he killed him was things that were in his car, which would have been his phone.
Doesn't he take like not physically like material object, doesn't he take something?
Oh, sorry, I didn't understand what you were saying there.
Like in the grave, because I'm sure he got naked in the grave with Aaron.
The thing that he really loved about Aaron was that Aaron was trusting.
So maybe that's what he took, and that's why he was more trusting in this movie.
Maybe.
Or he's just psychotic.
I think that's probably it. What was your second question?
It was more of a point on Sarah being ready to go at any given moment. The only time, so she gets naked in that one scene. Mm-hmm. The next, she is never without clothes. She gets into that hot tub fully clothed. She's standing in that creek, socks on, boots on. At any moment, she is ready to get out of there.
And she is not a care in the world about having soggy socks, which would be very upsetting for me.
And then in boots also.
I know.
Because he was like, oh, I don't want you to get your clothes wet. And
I loved that scene.
And I was like, okay, that was... The thing is with these movies is they're also full of comedy at the same time.
They are both very funny. Mm-hmm. In this one, there's... Mark has a ponytail in this one. It's just like a tiny ponytail. And he's doing this thing where he's sitting in the creek, like trying to do a monologue about his life. And he looks at her and he's like, is my hair okay? She's like, yeah, it's great. And he's like, I feel like I need to like redo it a little bit. Can you come and help me? So she comes to help him. She pulls the ponytail out and he's like, oh, no, I didn't mean redo the whole thing. Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. No, if you're going to redo it, just redo it. Like he clearly just wanted her to like tuck his bangs back.
Yeah, do something like small where it was just like.
But now she's redone his ponytail and he's not about that.
No, but yeah, she was standing in that creek. Full socks, full boots. You couldn't quickly just take those off? Anything?
No.
But yeah, and then she got in the hot tub with him.
Like, why couldn't you just in your bra?
Yeah,
just
anything.
Strip
she was
the
wearing
t-shirt
like...
off. Got right in that hot tub.
Fast.
Yeah. And she
was like,
held him.
There was so many times where I was like, she's going to kill him right now.
Same.
Like that, the hot tub scene for sure.
She was like, massaging his neck in a way that looked like she was about to just throttle him.
Do something. Or I was expecting her to pull out the knife, but didn't.
Man, great movies.
Yeah.
Should we rate them?
Yes.
Okay. Scary.
Like a 3, because I do jump at those jump scares, but they do get annoying after a while because it's the same
scares every time.
Face into the camera. Although when she was wearing the tape on her face, I was like, what the fuck is happening to her?
Oh, yeah. She scares him at one point and she's like fully taped her face and it is pretty hysterical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say 3 too because it's not nothing.
Mm-hmm. My heart definitely was like pitter patter, scaredy cat, boy. Thank you so much for listening.
Unsettling. 7.
Yeah, I was gonna say like an 8, maybe a 7.5.
They are unsettling.
And they just do it so well. It's disturbing. It's unnerving. It's like
creepy.
Ugh.
It is creep. Story. Having my background knowledge of Duplass Brothers films and my love for them, they are not incredibly detailed plots. They are very human moments happening. And I really like that. So I'm going to give this like, particularly the second one, because I think the characterization of Sarah is so good. I want to give it like an 8.
Just a quick question. Are we rating these together?
I am.
Okay, because that's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to say an 8 as well. Just because I do like both of them like as standalone stories and also as one continuous piece. Mm-hmm. We're pretty much the same on this.
Is it a paper cut or is it a bloody massacre? For me, it is 5 stab wounds to the abdomen.
For me, it's like one too many like mass grave. Ugh. Like, why was it so big?
It was the hugest grave.
He was like, yeah, I dug this before you got here. And I'm like, how long did that take?
What a workout, though. I mean, the man was in good shape.
Very good shape,
He's
yes.
so attractive.
Yeah, but also, like, if someone was to be like, yeah, I dug you this grave, I'd be like, thanks. I'd hop in.
Like, oh my God, you saved me so much work.
Thank you.
And good night. So, really and truly, could not recommend these movies enough. Please go watch them. They're really short, too, which is nice.
Yeah.
The first one is less than an hour and 20. The second one is an hour and 20. So, it's not a huge time investment.
Just watch both of them back to back.
Yeah.
Take some time out of your day or evening.
Take some time for yourself
Yeah.
and get creeped. And go creep us at Podcassacre on Twitter.
Wow, that was smooth.
Thank you. On Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You can also follow us at the Bloody Podcassacre on YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment, leave us a rating or a review on Apple Podcasts, or send us an email. Yeah, let us know any horror movies that you're thinking of that you're like, this is absolute trash. I just want to hear what they have to say. Send those to us at theblooddypodcassacre@gmail.com.
If you have a scary movie you just like want to hear somebody talk about it, send it to us.
Yes, absolutely.
We will talk about it, obviously.
Mm-hmm. And until next time.
And inside of a wolf is a beautiful heart.